He wasn't born a god. Hell, he wasn't even supposed to live among them. So why did Odin, the All-Father himself, ruler of Asgard, slice his own palm open and mix his blood with the most dangerous trickster in all the 9 realms? What kind of power did Loki possess that could make even Odin desperate enough to strike such a deal? This wasn't friendship. This was survival, a pact forged at death's door, in places where even gods fear to walk. The ritual they performed that night, it woke something ancient, something that had been sleeping since before the first rune was carved. For centuries, they've buried the truth about their blood oath. But once you know what really happened, Norse mythology will never feel the same. This is how Loki and Odin's twisted brotherhood began, and how the first crack appeared in Asgard's perfect facade. Odin, god of war, god of wisdom. Every warrior across the 9 realms knew his name. They'd whisper it before battle, hoping for his favor. But here's the thing about Odin. For all his titles, all his power, he was never truly all-knowing, and that terrified him. See, there was one enemy Odin couldn't defeat with Gungnir, his spear. One foe he couldn't outsmart or intimidate: ignorance. He'd sacrifice anything for knowledge. His eye, gone, traded for wisdom. His people, expendable if it meant learning enemy secrets. But the most dangerous thing Odin ever gave away wasn't his sight, or his honor, or even his sanity. After hanging from Yggdrasil for 9 days, it was his blood, not spilled in some glorious battle, not offered to another god in ceremony. He gave it to a giant-born shapeshifter whose silver tongue could cut deeper than any blade forged in the fires of Muspelheim. Loki. They didn't meet in some grand hall in Asgard, with golden horns of mead and epic toasts. No, their paths crossed in the wild forests of Vanaheim, where magic runs thick as blood, and reality bends like heated metal. Odin had been wandering alone. Stupid, really, but gods get cocky. He was chasing visions of Ragnarok, trying to glimpse the end times. Instead, he stumbled across a man with flame-red hair who spoke like he'd read the future and smiled like he enjoyed what he'd seen. Loki, not yet the Loki of legend, just a wanderer, a sorcerer with giant's blood in his veins, a walking question mark in leather and attitude. But here's the part they never teach in mythology class. Loki saved Odin's life. Picture this: Odin's tracking some mystical creature through thorny underbrush when wham! Venomous serpent, one of Jormungandr's nasty little cousins, strikes from the shadows. Fangs sink deep, the poison's already racing toward Odin's heart, and he's got maybe 3 minutes before the All-Father becomes the All-Dead. No backup, no ravens, just him, dying alone in some forgotten corner of Vanaheim. Then this stranger, this red-haired wildcard, starts whispering, not Norse, not any language Odin recognizes, something older, something that makes the air itself shiver. And just like that, the poison stops, reverses, flees Odin's body, like it's afraid. In that moment, lightning quick, Odin realizes 2 things. First, this Loki isn't just dangerous, he's necessary. And second, Loki didn't save him out of kindness. The bastard wanted something. 3 nights later, under a blood moon that looked like a wound in the sky, they stood at the Well of Urd. You know, where the 3 Norns sit spinning fate like old women with too much time and too much power. Sacred ground, the kind of place where even gods whisper. They cut their palms, let crimson drops fall into waters that reflect not what is, but what might be. And they spoke an oath, words that were never written down in any Edda, never carved in any runestone. From this hour forward, let our fates intertwine, blood to blood, brother to brother. Your secrets become mine, and mine yours. Simple words, but loaded like Mjolnir before a thunderstrike. Here's what Odin didn't know. Loki's blood wasn't clean. His parents, Farbauti and Laufey, carried curses from the void itself. Ancient chaos flowed in his veins. When their blood mixed in that sacred well, the threads of fate didn't just connect, they twisted. Some say the Norns gasped. Others claim they laughed until tears froze on their cheeks. But everyone agrees, that night, Odin's path to Ragnarok began in earnest. Why would the wisest god in Asgard make such a risky deal? Because Loki possessed knowledge the Vanir wouldn't share. Magic that made even the elves nervous. He knew how to speak with gods who'd been dead for centuries, reshape reality using carefully crafted lies, create monsters not by accident, but with surgical precision. Loki offered secrets Odin couldn't find anywhere. Not at Mimir's well, not hanging from the world tree, not even in the dreams of dying seers. His price? Simple. He wanted to walk among the gods, sit at their tables, be treated as an equal instead of a curiosity. Odin agreed, shook on it, made the deal. But, and this is crucial, he never trusted him. That's the hypocrisy running through every Norse myth, like a poison river. Odin used Loki when convenient. Loki used Odin right back. Some say the Norns gasped. Others claim they laughed until tears froze on their cheeks. But everyone agrees, that night, Odin's path to Ragnarok began in earnest. Why would the wisest god in Asgard make such a risky deal? Because Loki possessed knowledge the Vanir wouldn't share. Magic that made even the elves nervous. He knew how to speak with gods who'd been dead for centuries, reshape reality using carefully crafted lies, create monsters not by accident, but with surgical precision. Loki offered secrets Odin couldn't find anywhere, not at Mimir's well, not hanging from the world tree, not even in the dreams of dying seers. His price? Simple. He wanted to walk among the gods, sit at their tables, be treated as an equal instead of a curiosity. Odin agreed, shook on it, made the deal. But, and this is crucial, he never trusted him. That's the hypocrisy running through every Norse myth like a poison river. Odin used Loki when convenient. Loki used Odin right back. And everyone else? They'd pay for that toxic friendship with their lives. Before he became the father of monsters, before his name meant betrayal, Loki fought beside Thor, saved Asgard more times than the history books admit. He tricked giants into surrendering powerful artifacts they'd stolen. When some dwarf thieves made off with Mjolnir, yes, that actually happened, Loki got it back. He outwitted spirits, outsmarted gods, won impossible challenges through pure cleverness. He was brilliant, charming, essential. But here's the kicker. Every time Loki saved them, he reminded the gods of something they hated acknowledging. They weren't invincible. And gods, they really hate being reminded they can bleed. Think about Loki and Odin, like characters from Game of Thrones, Varys and Littlefinger type stuff. Their alliance wasn't built on trust or affection. It was mutual manipulation, necessary evil, inevitable betrayal waiting to happen. Loki started out trying to help, really, but every time he told inconvenient truths, they called him a liar. Every time he warned them about real threats, they mocked his concerns. So eventually, he stopped trying to be helpful, started playing their game instead, started lying when truth didn't work, started manipulating when cooperation failed, started planning for the day everything would fall apart because he could see it coming. Ragnarok wasn't just some distant possibility. It was inevitable, written in the stars, carved in fate itself. And if the gods wouldn't listen to warnings, maybe they'd listen to consequences. Years passed. Decades. The blood bond held, but barely. One evening, as they shared wine that tasted like regret, Loki asked a question that still echoes through mythology. Brother, what happens when one of us betrays the other? Odin didn't even pause, didn't blink, just stared into his cup and said, he dies. That night, Loki disappeared. The next morning, a mortal woman appeared at Asgard's gates. Beautiful, strange, claiming she carried Loki's child. Her name was Sigyn. And she wasn't just any mortal. She was a seeress who could glimpse fragments of the future. The gods were furious. A giant-born trickster's bastard child in holy Asgard. Unthinkable. But Odin allowed it, because he knew something the others didn't. Sigyn's child, a boy they'd named Narfi, would play a crucial role in Ragnarok. And when the time came for Loki's punishment, that innocent child would be torn apart to provide chains for his father's binding. But that's another story, another episode, another tragedy in this endless saga of blood and betrayal. Odin kneels before Mimir's severed head, preserved in sacred springs, still whispering wisdom to those brave enough or desperate enough to ask. Was I wrong to trust him? The head's eyes open slowly. When Mimir speaks, his voice sounds like wind through graveyards. You were wrong to think you had a choice. There, silhouetted against storm clouds, stands Loki, watching, waiting. His eyes shimmer, not with hatred, though the gods expect that, with grief. I was your brother, Odin, your blood-sworn brother. But even brothers become enemies when fate demands it.